This table of values shows coordinates for points that satisfy a linear function. What are the slope and y-intercept of this function? So in this problem, we need to find out what is the slope and what is the y-intercept. The slope, when I'm looking at a table, the slope is the change in y over the change in x. So that little triangle just stands for, it's just a fancy way of writing change in. So I need to look at what is happening as I move along this table. Let's look at the y's. How do I get from -6 to -3? What is happening? Well, if I want to get from -6 to -3, that means I would add 3 to do that. Look at -3 to 0. It's the same pattern. -3 plus 3 is 0. Finally, 0 to 3, same thing. We're adding 3 to do that. Let's look at the x's. If I'm going from 0 to 1, what happened? Well, if I add 1, there we go. So the pattern on the x values is adding 1. So we figured out that the change in y, each one of these patterns, each one of these little jumps in the table, we're adding, or we're going, up 3. So that's +3 over our x values. We went up 1 as we're moving down this table, so the change in x is 1. So my slope is 3 over 1, which is just 3. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to figure out the y-intercept. Looking at a table and figuring out the y-intercept is actually pretty easy. If I drew a graph, any line, so any y-intercept, we know that the y-intercept is the point where a line crosses the y-axis. So this line that I just drew in there is my y-intercept. Any point that is on the y-axis means that the x value has to be 0. So looking at a table, all you have to do is find the 0 in the x column, and whatever is across from it, that's going to be our y-intercept. So right here, the very first thing on the table is 0, -6. So my y-intercept, there's my point. There's my y-intercept. It's going to cross the y-axis at 0, -6.